Our transportation sector has reached a turning point. We are all in the midst of a turning point. We have the technology to transition to a zero-emission fleet. Our administration, together, all of us, is working to make that possibility a reality.
Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide electric vehicle charging network so that people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
I'm sick of this stuff. We have to talk about it because the American people think the reason for inflation is government spending more money. Simply not true.
How high would they have to get before President Biden would say, I'm going to set aside my ambitious climate goals, just increase domestic oil production, and we can address the fossil fuel future later?
The U.S. produced more oil this past year than in President Trump's first year. Next year, according to the Department of Energy, we will produce more oil than ever before. Those are the facts in terms of oil production. And again, right now there are 9,000 unused approved permits to drill onshore. So I think you're misidentifying what the actual issue is. But if we're looking to the future, the best thing we can do is reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and foreign oil because that will help us have a reliable source of energy so that we're not worried about gas prices going up because of the whims of a foreign dictator.
Right, and you guys think that asking Saudi Arabia or Venezuela or Iran is reducing our dependence on foreign oil?
That's actually, I just outlined each of those.
It's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production. That's simply not true. Even amid the pandemic, companies in the United States pumped more oil during my first year in office than they did during my predecessor's first year. We're approaching a record levels of oil and gas production in the United States, and we're on track to set a record of oil production next year.
He was very clear in saying, making the same misstatements that Jen Psaki did, saying that we have the highest oil production ever right now. Anybody can look it up on the website. EIA, it's the official energy statistics. Barrels a day. It's a 1.5 million barrel per day drop since December 2019 at the end of the Trump administration. The fact is we are not producing as much oil as we could, and we could ramp up our oil production to easily replace what we're not getting from Russia.
The real answer is let's increase production here and understand we're in this terrible position because of stupid policy decisions from the Biden administration. You all know this, that canceling the Keystone Pipeline, not allowing drilling on federal lands, not keeping ANWR open.
Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin. I love, the Republicans saying it's Biden's gas pipeline. Biden said he's going to stop the Keystone Pipeline, and I did. The oil companies and the executives, they don't want to pump more oil, although they have every capacity to do so. Nothing is slowing them up from doing it if they want to. Why? Rather than spend the profits in the increased price of gasoline, they would rather take those profits and buy back stock. So don't tell me gas prices rose because I've slowed down the American energy production. There's an impediment to production in the United States, and it's called the bankers on Wall Street. This crisis is another indication of why we need to get off dependency on fossil fuels. This is not a solution to today's crisis. It's about the future. But let's be absolutely clear about why prices are so high right now. People had money to spend. They didn't spend money on leisure activities. So they wanted to spend it on other things, on hard goods, home improvements, televisions, additions to their homes. So what happened? Prices went up exponentially.
Why did you guys decide to rebrand the rise in gas prices as the hashtag Putin price hike?
I mean, if you want to use that on Fox, I welcome that. But
I think it'll get a lot of airtime because we have heard the president warn for months the gas prices were rising because of the supply chain. If you guys knew for months that this was going to be the hashtag Putin price hike, why are we just hearing that now?
Well, Peter, if we go back to 6 months ago, I don't think anybody was predicting we would be exactly and an increase in oil and prices. Hence, you have a Putin gas price pump.
Okay, you and the president are both talking. Thank you. You and the president are both talking about.
Spit that out.
But let's be clear. These increases are because of Vladimir Putin. This is Putin's war. These are Putin's increases.
Putin's gas hike. That's his gas hike. So much of this increase in the gas tax, gas price started.
You may have noticed this week that your gas prices have gone up. I want to talk to you a little bit about why. A lot of it has to do with Vladimir Putin.
Listen to what President Biden said about that.
Everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home. We understand Putin's war against the people of Ukraine is causing prices to rise. People are already feeling Putin's price hikes at the pump. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin.
For the president to try to pretend like prices weren't already rising, I mean, I don't think people are candidly that dumb. I mean, we remember the inflation was going on long before this happened. It's absolutely true this is making it worse, but to sort of whitewash what happened all of last year, I don't think is going to work for them politically.
It's going to go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible.
With this president, this Joe Biden, this president with justice, environmental justice, economic justice, so much has been accomplished.
What specifically can you point to that has worked to bring down inflation?
Well, there are a number of steps we've taken. If you compare month to month, we've seen inflationary pressure or inflationary numbers go down month to month, even as we looked at the year-to-year numbers go up, which we entirely predicted.
So anybody who's looking at the month-over-month and the year-over-year making comments that, well, the rate of change is slowing down, these numbers are coming down, not accurate. Now let's...
You and the president are both talking about producing energy here, saying that oil and gas companies have 9,000 permits to drill now. They could be drilling right now.
What's holding them up?
Does President Biden think that each of these 9,000 leases that are available have oil or gas in them? Because industry experts are saying that that accusation is a complete red herring. Some permits are viable and some are not. And that when you say that, this represents a fundamental misunderstanding as to how this process works.
Do that. They should do that themselves.
The additional permits. So would the president?
What additional permits do they need? They have the leases are there, the permits are there. I don't think they need an embroidered invitation to drill. They are oil companies. What is happening? The permits have been granted, Peter. What is
that accusation is a complete red herring, and it's really a distraction from the fact that this administration has paused leasing on federal lands.
This represents a fundamental misunderstanding as to how this process works. So the White House certainly doesn't have their facts straight on this.
Yeah, it's not truthful, right? And it's not truthful at all. She knows that, right? It's delaying leases. Look, you can get a lease and then they delay the permits. In Alaska, they delay the ability to get a permit for an ice road. We tried to kill pipelines. Day one, you saw Biden said he wasn't going to produce. Have people like John Kerry and Gina McCarthy going around to the American financial community saying, don't invest in American energy. So day one, they have been focused on killing the production of American energy.
We do anticipate that gas prices and energy prices will go up. That is something that the president has conveyed very clearly to the American public. We also believe it will be temporary and not long-lasting.